Jinha pressed his face against the viewing window of the research ship Harmony's Edge. The Kepler Nebula spread out before him like a giant purple and blue cloud. Lightning danced between the gas particles, making the whole area look alive. Another dead end, he said with a sigh. Jinha was a Valerian, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. He had spent the last 3 years searching for old artifacts in space. Most days, he found nothing but rocks and space dust. Not so fast, called Ha-Rin from her workstation. She was the ship's science officer, a Zephyrian with silver hair and pointed ears. Her fingers moved quickly over her computer controls. I'm getting some strange readings from Sector 7. Rex, the ship's security chief, looked up from cleaning his weapon. He was built like a tank, with thick arms and scars across his face from old battles. Strange how? He asked. Rex didn't like surprises. There's something big in there, Ha-Rin said, her voice getting excited. Really big. The nebula's energy is hiding it, but my deep scanners are picking up metal, lots of metal. Jinha felt his heart beat faster. After months of empty space, they might have found something real. How big are we talking? Maybe 10 kilometers long, maybe more. Ha-Rin looked at her screen again. This is bigger than anything, in our records. Quan, their diplomat, walked over from his reading corner. He was an Altharian, tall and thin with green-tinted skin. If it's that large, it could be dangerous, he said in his calm voice. We should call for backup. Or it could be the find of the century, Jinha said. He had been looking for something like this his whole life. We're scientists. This is what we do. Rex stood up and checked his weapon one more time. I don't like going into that nebula blind. The energy storms could fry our systems. I can navigate us through the calm spots, Ha-Rin said. She was already plotting a course on her computer. It will take a few hours, but we can make it. Jinha looked at his team. They had been together for 2 years now, exploring the empty parts of space. Rex kept them safe, Ha-Rin kept them moving, and Quan made sure they didn't start any wars with whatever they found. They were good people, and they trusted each other. Let's do it, Jinha said. But we go slow and careful. The Harmony's Edge moved into the nebula like a fish swimming through thick soup. Purple and blue gases swirled around their ship. Lightning crackled in the distance, lighting up the darkness with bright flashes. Ha-Rin guided them through the safest path she could find. Sometimes the ship shook when energy waves hit them. Rex kept watching their weapon systems ready for trouble. Quan prepared first contact protocols, just in case they found someone alive. After 3 hours of careful flying, they found it. By the stars, Jinha whispered. The ship was massive. It floated in a pocket of calm space, surrounded by the nebula's storms. The hull was dark gray metal, covered with scars and burn marks. Gun turrets stuck out from the sides like deadly thorns. The whole thing looked like it had been through 100 battles. I've never seen anything like it, Ha-Rin said, her voice full of wonder. Rex was less impressed. That's a warship. Look at those weapons. This thing was built to fight. The ship was long and narrow, with a thick front section that looked like a battering ram. Wings spread out from the middle, covered with more guns and armor plates. Strange symbols were carved into the hull, worn down by time and space. Can you read the writing? Jinha asked. Ha-Rin ran the symbols through their computer. After a few minutes, she looked up with wide eyes. It's human. The bridge went quiet. Everyone knew about humans. They had been one of the first species to reach the stars, but they had disappeared long ago. Most people thought they had destroyed themselves in wars. Others believed they had just faded away. That's impossible, Quan said. Humans have been gone for over 800 years. The computer doesn't lie, Ha-Rin said. She pointed at her screen. These symbols match old human writing from the archives. This ship is definitely human. Rex moved closer to the window. If it's human, it's old. Really old. Look at that damage. This thing has been fighting for a long time. Jinha studied the ship more carefully. The scars on the hull weren't random. They were repairs, done over and over again. Someone had been taking care of this ship for a very long time. "Are there life signs?" he asked. Harin ran another scan. "Hard to tell. The hull is too thick and there's too much interference from the nebula, but there might be something. Very faint." "We need to get closer," Jinha said. "Bad idea," Rex said quickly. "That thing could have automatic defenses. Human weapons were nasty." "It's been floating here for centuries," Jinha argued. "If it was going to shoot us, it would have done it already." Harin was studying her readings more carefully. "Wait. I'm picking up energy signatures, very low level, but they're there. Some systems on that ship are still working." This changed everything. A dead ship was just archaeology. A ship with working systems was something else entirely. "Can you identify what systems are active?" Quan asked. "Life support is running in some sections. There are also maintenance systems, like robots or something keeping the ship running." Jinha felt a chill run down his spine. After all this time, humans were good with technology, Rex said. Maybe they built things to last. As they got closer, more details became clear. The ship's name was carved into the front in large letters, though most of it was worn away. Jinha could only make out a few words: "Eternal Vigil." "The Eternal Vigil?" he read out loud. "What kind of name is that for a ship?" "Sounds like a military name," Rex said. Humans liked dramatic names for their warships. Harin was running more scans. "I'm detecting docking ports. They look compatible with our systems. We could board it if we wanted to." "Should we?" Quan asked. "This could be dangerous. We don't know what's inside." Jinha looked at the ancient ship floating in the nebula's glow. This was the discovery of a lifetime. A human ship, lost for centuries, still somehow alive in the darkness. Whatever secrets it held, they were worth the risk. "We're going aboard," he decided. "But we go armed and we go careful. This ship has been waiting here for a long time. Let's find out what it's been waiting for." Rex smiled grimly and checked his weapon. "Now you're talking my language." The Sioux. Harmony's Edge moved slowly toward the ancient human ship, not knowing that their discovery would change everything they thought they knew about humans, about war, and about what it really meant to never give up. The docking tube connected with a loud clang that echoed through both ships. Jinha felt his stomach twist with nerves. They were about to board a ship that had been lost in space for 800 years. "Air pressure is good," Harin reported, from her scanner. "The atmosphere inside matches ours. Whatever's keeping this ship running, it's doing a good job." Rex stood by the airlock door, his weapon ready. He had put on full combat armor for this mission. "I still don't like this. Dead ships should stay dead." "It's not dead," Jinha said, checking his own equipment. "That's what makes it interesting." Quan adjusted his translation device. "If we find anyone alive, I'll handle first contact. Remember, humans were known to be unpredictable." The airlock door hissed open. Cool air flowed out, carrying strange smells. Metal, oil, and something else. Jinha couldn't identify. Emergency lights flickered along the walls, casting red shadows everywhere. They stepped into a long corridor. The walls were covered with thick metal plates, and every surface looked like it was built to survive a war. Pipes and cables ran along, the ceiling like metal veins. "This place feels like a fortress," Rex said, his voice echoing in the empty hallway. Harin held up her scanner. "I'm getting readings from all over the ship, power flowing to different sections, and—" She stopped and looked worried. "Movement. Something big is moving deeper in the ship." "Define big," Rex said, raising his weapon. "Human-sized. Maybe larger. And there's not just one. I count at least 20 contacts moving through the ship." Jinha felt his heart beat faster. "Moving how? Like they're alive?" "Like they're waking up," Harin said quietly. Suddenly, lights began turning on throughout the corridor. Not the dim emergency lights, but bright white lights that made them all squint. A deep humming sound started somewhere in the ship's belly, growing louder. "That's not good," Rex muttered. A voice spoke from speakers in the walls. It was clear and strong, speaking in old human language. The translation device in Quan's ear worked quickly. Unknown visitors detected, awakening protocol initiated. All crew to ready stations. Crew? Jinha whispered. What crew? The humming got louder. Through the floor, they could feel vibrations, like giant machines coming to life. Somewhere in the distance, they heard the hiss of opening doors. We should go back, Rex said. Right now. But Jinha was already moving forward. We came this far. Let's see what's waking up. They walked deeper into the ship. The corridors were clean but showed signs of long use. Scratches on the walls, worn spots on the floor, patches where metal had been replaced. Someone had been taking care of this ship for a very long time. They reached a large room filled with tall metal pods. Each pod was the size of a coffin, with a small window on top. Lights blinked on panels beside each one. Cryo-sleep chambers, Harin breathed. Hundreds of them. Most of the pods were empty, but some still had people inside. Jinha looked through one of the windows and saw a human face, peaceful in sleep. The person looked young, maybe 30 years old. How long have they been sleeping? Quan asked. Harin checked her scanner. According to the power readings, centuries. These people have been in cryo-sleep for centuries. One of the pods began making noise. Steam hissed from the sides as the lid slowly opened. The person inside took a deep breath and opened their eyes. The human sat up slowly, looking around with sharp, alert eyes. She was a woman with short dark hair and lean muscles. When she saw the alien visitors, she didn't seem surprised or afraid. She just studied them like a predator sizing up potential threats. Rex, Jinha whispered, lower your weapon. We don't want to seem hostile. The human woman stood up from her pod. She was tall and moved with the grace of a trained fighter. Her clothes were simple but practical, dark fabric that looked like it could stop a blade. More pods were opening throughout the room. Men and women of different ages climbed out, all with the same alert, dangerous look in their eyes. None of them seemed confused or weak from their long sleep. They moved like they had been training for this moment their whole lives. How many of them are there? Rex asked nervously. The scanner shows over 1,000 pods throughout the ship, Harin whispered, and they're all waking up. The first woman walked over to them. She looked at each alien visitor carefully, then spoke in clear human language. I am captain of the Eternal Vigil. You have triggered our awakening protocols. State your purpose. Quan stepped forward, his translator working. We are scientists and explorers. We found your ship by accident. We mean no harm. The captain listened to the translation, then nodded slowly. Scientists. It has been a long time since we met scientists. She looked around at her waking crew. How long have we slept? Our records show humans disappeared about 800 years ago, Quan said carefully. 800 years, the captain repeated. She showed no surprise, just calculation. Then we are close to schedule. Schedule for what? Jinha asked. The captain looked at him with eyes that seemed much older than her face. The war, of course. We have been preparing for the war. Rex stepped forward. What war? The galaxy has been at peace for centuries. The captain smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. Peace is a luxury we gave you. We have been paying the price for that peace. More humans were gathering around them now, men and women with scars on their hands and hard looks in their eyes. They didn't look like the peaceful humans from old records. These people looked like they had been born for battle. You speak of war, Quan said. But who are you fighting? The same enemy we have always fought, the captain said. The enemy that made us leave. The enemy that is coming back. Harin checked her long-range scanners. Her face went pale. Captain Jinha, I'm picking up something at the edge of the system. Multiple contacts, big ones. The captain saw Harin's expression and nodded grimly. They're early. We expected another 50 years at least. She turned to her crew. All hands to battle stations. Begin final awakening sequence. The ship around them began to change. Walls slid apart to reveal weapon systems. The gentle humming became a powerful roar as massive engines came online. The peaceful research vessel they had boarded was transforming into something else entirely, a weapon of war. "What are you?" Rex asked, backing toward the exit. The captain looked at him with eyes like steel. "We are what humanity became when the galaxy needed guardians. We are the Vigil, and our watch is finally ending." Alarms began sounding throughout the ship. The humans moved with practiced efficiency, each one knowing exactly what to do. They had been preparing for this moment for 800 years. "The real war is about to begin," the captain said. "And you're about to learn why humanity really disappeared." Through the ship's hull they could feel something approaching, something vast and hungry and full of hate. The enemy humanity had been preparing to fight was finally coming home. The captain led them through corridors filled with awakening humans. Everyone moved with purpose, like dancers who had practiced the same routine for centuries. No one wasted motion, no one asked questions. They all knew what to do. "This is impossible," Quan whispered to Jinha. "How can they be so organized after sleeping for so long?" "We wake in shifts," the captain said, hearing him. "Every 50 years new crews take over. They maintain the ship, train the others, then sleep again. We call it the rotation." She stopped at a massive door marked with warning symbols. "You want to understand what we are? Come, see what we carry." The door opened to reveal a room that took Jinha's breath away. The walls were covered with screens showing star maps, battle plans, and weapon designs. In the center stood a table with a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. "Welcome to our war room," the captain said. "This is where we've planned for 800 years." Harin walked to one of the screens. It showed pictures of creatures that made her stomach turn. They were black and twisted, with too many teeth and eyes like burning coals. "What are these things?" "We call them devourers," the captain said. Her voice was cold and hard. "They eat everything. Planets, stars, entire solar systems. They turn it all into more of themselves." Rex studied the battle plans on the walls. "You've been fighting these things?" "Not fighting, preparing." The captain touched the star map, and it zoomed in on different areas. 800 years ago, they came from beyond our galaxy. They destroyed 3 human colonies before we even knew what they were. She manipulated the map, showing the path of destruction. They consume everything living and turn it into their ships, their weapons, their bodies. We tried to fight them the normal way. We lost. "So you ran away?" Jinha asked. The captain's eyes flashed with anger. "We made a choice. We could stay and watch the galaxy burn, or we could disappear and give ourselves time to find a way to stop them." Quan looked at the screen showing human technology. It was far beyond anything in current galactic records. "You've been developing weapons all this time?" "Weapons, tactics, ourselves." The captain walked to a screen showing human genetic charts. "We changed our bodies to be faster, stronger, smarter. We built ships that could survive anything. We turned ourselves into the perfect weapon against the devourers." She pressed a button and the room filled with holographic images of human soldiers. They moved like lightning, fought with incredible skill, and never seemed to get tired or afraid. Each person on this ship represents generations of training and preparation. We are not the same humans who left the galaxy. We are something new. Harin was studying the genetic information. "You've been breeding for war traits, enhanced reflexes, improved healing, better pattern recognition, and other things," the captain said quietly. "Things that help us fight creatures that can read minds and predict normal tactics." Rex looked uncomfortable. "What kind of things?" "We learned to think in ways that hurt the devourers to read. We made our minds into weapons too." The captain's expression was grim. "It was necessary." The star map suddenly flashed red in several areas. An alarm sounded throughout the ship. "Report," the captain called out. A voice answered from the speakers. "Long-range sensors confirm Devourer scout ships entering outer system territories. Estimated arrival at inhabited worlds, 6 months." The aliens looked at each other in fear. 6 months was no time at all to prepare for war. "You see," the captain said. "They followed the expansion of galactic civilization. They've been waiting. Two, growing stronger, building their forces. Now they're ready to finish what they started." Jinha felt sick. How many of them are there? Thousands of ships, maybe tens of thousands. They've had 800 years to grow, just like we've had 800 years to prepare. Quan stepped forward. "We have to warn the galaxy. All the civilizations need to know what's coming." The captain shook her head. "Warn them of what?" "Your people have lived in peace for so long you've forgotten how to fight. Your ships are designed for exploration, not war. Your soldiers are peacekeepers, not killers." She touched the map again, showing the current locations of major galactic fleets. "The Devourers will go through your defenses like they're not even there, just like they did to us 800 years ago." "Then what do we do?" Rex asked. "You do nothing," the captain said. "You go home to your families and live your lives. This is our war. This is what we've been preparing for." Harin looked around at the screens full of battle plans and weapon designs. "Just one ship against an entire invasion?" "Not one ship." The captain smiled for the first time since they'd met her. "Did you think we only built one?" She pressed another button. The star map lit up with hundreds of dots scattered throughout the galaxy. Every dot is a ship like this one, 1,000 crew members, 800 years of preparation waiting for the signal to wake up and fight. Jinha counted the dots. There were so many. How many ships? 1,000 ships, 1 million human warriors, all waiting in hidden places throughout the galaxy. The captain's voice was filled with pride. "We didn't run away, we spread out. We became a net waiting to catch our enemies." Rex was amazed. "You've been planning this for 8 centuries. Every detail, every possible battle, every way the Devourers might attack." She gestured to the screens around them. "We know their weaknesses now. We know how to hurt them. And most importantly, we know how to think in ways they can't predict." The ship shuddered as massive engines came fully online. Through the walls they could hear the sounds of weapons being loaded and shields powering up. "What happens now?" Quan asked. "Now we send the signal." The captain walked to a control panel covered in red buttons. 800 years of hiding ends today. The galaxy will remember that humans never really left. We just went to work. She placed her hand on the biggest red button. "When I press this, every human ship in the galaxy will wake up. The Devourers think they're hunting sheep. They're about to discover they're facing wolves." Jinha felt something change in the air around them. The humans throughout the ship were moving faster now, their eyes brighter, their voices sharper. They were transforming from sleepers into warriors. "The galaxy gave us peace," the captain said. "Now we give them war. The kind of war we were born to fight." She pressed the button. Across the galaxy in hidden places no one had ever found, ancient human ships began to wake up. The longest military operation in galactic history was about to begin. "Welcome to the real human legacy," the captain said. "We are the guardians in the dark, and the dark is ending." Jake Morrison stood in the ship's training bay, moving through combat drills that looked impossible. He twisted and spun through laser beams that would have killed a normal person 10 times over. His reflexes were so fast that Jinha could barely follow his movements. 800 years of sleep, Jake said without breathing hard. "And my body still remembers every lesson." Jake was one of the newly awakened humans. He looked about 30 years old, but his eyes held the knowledge of someone much older. His muscles moved like steel cables under his skin. "How is that possible?" Harin asked. She had been studying the humans for hours, trying to understand what they had become. "Memory implants," Jake said, touching his temple. "Every human who ever lived on this ship shared their knowledge with us. We carry the experience of thousands of warriors in our heads." He gestured to the training equipment around them. "This room can simulate any battlefield, any enemy, any situation we might face. We've practiced fighting the Devourers a million different ways." Rex watched Jake move through another drill. The human fought against holographic enemies that looked like the creatures from the captain's records. His techniques were unlike anything Rex had ever seen. "You fight like you're not afraid of dying," Rex said. Jake stopped and looked at him. "Fear is useful, but only if it makes you better. We learned to use fear as fuel instead of letting it control us." He walked to a wall covered with weapons. Each one was designed to fight the Devourers specifically. These guns fire rounds that disrupt their cellular structure. These blades can cut through their armor. This armor protects against their acid. Jinha picked up one of the weapons. It was heavier than it looked and felt warm to the touch. "How do you know all this will work?" "Because we tested it," Jake said. "We captured Devourer scouts over the years. We studied them, learned their weaknesses, found ways to kill them efficiently." Harin looked shocked. "You've been fighting them this whole time?" "Small battles, hit-and-run attacks. We made sure they didn't know we were still alive while we learned everything about them." Jake's expression was grim. "They're smart, but they think in patterns. We learned to break those patterns." Quan was studying the tactical displays on the walls. "These battle plans, they're for protecting specific planets and trade routes. You're not just planning to fight them, you're planning to save everyone." "That's the job," Jake said simply. "Humans protect. It's what we do." The ship shook as they changed course. Through the windows, they could see other human ships appearing in space around them. Each one was scarred from centuries of secret war, but their weapons gleamed with deadly purpose. "How many of you are there now?" Rex asked. "In this area?" "About 50 ships. Across the galaxy?" Jake smiled coldly. "Enough." He led them to another room filled with star maps and communication equipment. Human operators worked at dozens of stations, coordinating with ships across space. "We're not just warriors," Jake explained. "We're also the galaxy's early warning system. We've been watching the borders, tracking Devourer movements, preparing evacuation routes for civilian populations." One of the operators looked up. "Jake, we're getting reports from the Outer Rim. Devourer forces are larger than predicted. They've been building up for this invasion." Jake nodded calmly. "Expected? They learn from their mistakes too." "What's our response time to major population centers?" "All human fleets can reach critical targets within 72 hours, the operator replied. Jinha realized the scale of what he was seeing. "You've turned the entire galaxy into a battlefield that only you know about." "We've turned it into a fortress," Jake corrected. "Every trade route, every civilian shelter, every evacuation point has been planned and prepared. When the Devourers come, we'll be ready for them." He showed them a display of civilian shipping lanes. "We've been secretly upgrading merchant ships with better shields and faster engines. Most traders don't even know their ships can outrun Devourer pursuit craft." Harin was amazed. "You've been protecting the galaxy without anyone knowing?" "The best protection is invisible protection," Jake said. "If people knew about the Devourers, they would panic. Panic makes people do stupid things. Stupid things get people killed." Rex studied the weapon displays more carefully. "These aren't just guns. They're designed for specific types of targets. Devourer soldiers, Devourer ships, Devourer hives, Devourer queens." Jake counted them off on his fingers. "Each enemy type requires different tactics. We have weapons and strategies for all of them." He activated a holographic display showing different types of Devourers. Some were small and fast, others were huge and heavily armored. The worst ones looked like they were made of pure nightmare. "This is what your peaceful galaxy has been protected from," Jake said. "Every day for 800 years, these things have been trying to find ways into civilized space. Every day we've been stopping them." Quan looked at the images with horror. "The Galaxy Councils need to know about this. We have to prepare our people." Jake shook his head. "Your people can't fight these things. Your minds aren't built for this kind of war. You'll freeze up, make predictable moves, get yourselves killed." "Then teach us," Jinha said. "No time. The invasion starts in 6 months. It takes 50 years to train a human warrior properly." Jake's voice was firm but not unkind. "This is our job. Let us do it." The ship's speakers crackled to life. It was the captain's voice. All hands, prepare for combat jump. Devourer scouts have been detected approaching the Kepler system. We are moving to intercept. Jake immediately started checking his weapons and equipment. His movements were smooth and practiced, like he had done this thousands of times before. You're going to fight them now? Harin asked. Scout ships first, Jake said, putting on armor that seemed to mold itself to his body. We need to stop them from reporting back to the main fleet. If we can delay their intelligence gathering, we buy more time for evacuations. Rex watched. Jake transformed from a teacher into a weapon of war. What do you need from us? Go home, Jake said. Warn your governments quietly. Start moving civilian populations away from border systems. Don't cause panic, but start getting people to safety. He paused at the door. And remember what you've seen here. When this war is over, when the galaxy is safe again, remember that humans kept their promise. We said we would protect you, and we did. Alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Gentle vibration of normal engines became the roar of war machines preparing for battle. This is what we trained for, Jake said, his eyes bright with determination. 800 years of preparation ends today. Time to show the Devourers what happens when humans stop hiding. The ship jumped to hyperspace, carrying its cargo of human warriors toward their first real battle in 8 centuries. The war to save the galaxy had finally begun. The first Devourer scout ship appeared on the screens like a nightmare made of metal and flesh. It was twice the size of the Eternal Vigil, covered in spikes and weapons that seemed to grow from its hull like cancerous tumors. Jinha watched from the bridge as the human crew prepared for battle. No one spoke loudly. No one ran around in panic. They moved with the calm efficiency of people who had practiced this moment for centuries. Target acquired, reported Harin, who was now helping with the ship's sensors. The scout is scanning local systems, probably looking for inhabited worlds. Captain stepped onto the bridge, now dressed in combat armor that made her look like a walking weapon. Not today, she said quietly. Weapons free. Take them apart. The Eternal Vigil transformed before their eyes. Panels slid away to reveal massive guns. The hull reconfigured itself into a more aggressive shape. What had looked like an old warship became something that belonged in nightmares. The battle lasted exactly 43 seconds. Human weapons fired beams of energy that cut through Devourer armor like paper. The enemy ship tried to fight back, but its weapons couldn't even scratch the human shields. When it attempted to ram the Eternal Vigil, the human ship simply moved, aside with impossible speed. The Devourer scout exploded in a ball of green fire. Nothing remained but drifting debris. That's it? Rex asked, amazed. 800 years of preparation for a 40-second fight? Jake Morrison, back from the weapons bay, smiled grimly. That was just one scout. Wait until you see the real war. As if summoned by his words, the long-range sensors began screaming. Warnings. Harin looked at her displays with growing horror. Massive energy signatures detected at the galaxy's edge, she reported. Hundreds of ships, maybe thousands. The main screen lit up with contacts. Each dot represented a Devourer ship, and there were so many dots that they looked like a swarm of angry insects. The main fleet, Captain said. Right on schedule. Across the galaxy, communication channels erupted with panic. Civilian ships reported strange contacts approaching their systems. Military bases sent desperate requests for reinforcements. Trade routes went silent as merchant vessels fled for safety. But in the depths of space, hidden human ships began to move. Signal from Fleet Command, reported the communications officer. All Vigil ships are active and moving to intercept positions. On the tactical display, Jinha watched dots representing human ships appear throughout the galaxy. They emerged from asteroid belts, gas giants, and empty space where no one had thought to look. Each one moved with purpose toward predetermined positions. It's beautiful, Quan whispered. Like a dance that's been choreographed for centuries. More like a trap, Jake said. We've been setting this trap for 800 years. Now we get to spring it. The first major battle happened at the Rigel colony. 50 devourer ships attacked the peaceful mining world, expecting to find easy prey. Instead, they found 10 human warships waiting for them. The aliens watched the battle through the ship's communications array. It was nothing like the wars in their history books. Human ships moved like living things, anticipating enemy attacks and striking with surgical precision. Devourer vessels that should have been unstoppable were picked apart, piece by piece. "How are you winning so easily?" Jinha asked. "We're not winning easily," Captain replied. "We're winning efficiently. There's a difference." She showed them casualty reports coming in from across the galaxy. Every human ship that dies takes 100 devourer ships with it. Every human warrior who falls kills 1,000 enemies first. We've made ourselves into the perfect weapon for this war. Rex studied the battle reports. "But you're still dying. Even with all your preparation, humans are dying." Captain's expression softened for just a moment. "Yes, we're dying. We always knew we would die. That's the price of keeping the galaxy safe." More battles erupted across civilized space. At Centauri Station, 6 human ships held off 300 devourer attackers long enough for 2 million civilians to evacuate. At the Vega shipyards, human warriors fought hand-to-hand against devourer boarding parties to protect the workers building new defense platforms. But the most important battle was happening at Earth's old location. "The devourers are trying to find our homeworld," Jake explained. "They think if they destroy Earth, they'll break our spirit." Harren looked confused. "But Earth was abandoned centuries ago." Jake smiled. "Was it?" On the screen, they watched as the largest devourer fleet in the galaxy approached the Sol system. 5,000 enemy ships led by something so massive it looked like a small moon with weapons. Waiting for them were 100 human ships. "That's not enough," Rex said. "They're outnumbered 50 to 1. "Numbers don't matter when you have the right strategy," Captain said. The human ships didn't attack the devourer fleet directly. Instead, they led them on a chase through the solar system, past Jupiter, past Mars, toward the empty space where Earth used to be. When the devourers reached Earth's location, they found something impossible. Earth was still there. Not the real Earth. That had been moved to safety long ago. This was a trap disguised as humanity's homeworld, and when the devourer fleet got close enough to attack it, Earth exploded. The explosion was visible from neighboring star systems. It destroyed the entire devourer command fleet in a single moment, along with their queenships and war leaders. "We turned our fake homeworld into the largest bomb in galactic history," Jake said with satisfaction. 800 years of planning for one perfect moment. Across the galaxy, the remaining devourer forces suddenly became disorganized without their leaders. Human ships that had been playing defense switched to attack mode, hunting down the confused enemies with ruthless efficiency. The war that was supposed to destroy the galaxy ended in 6 days. The Eternal Vigil received the final report as they headed toward the nearest inhabited system. Captain read it aloud to everyone on the bridge. "All devourer forces eliminated or in retreat. Civilian casualties minimal. Infrastructure damage repairable. The galaxy is secure." She looked up at the alien visitors who had witnessed everything. "The vigil is over. Our watch has ended." Jinha felt tears in his eyes. "What happens to you now? Do you go back to sleep?" Captain shook her head. "Our purpose was to protect the galaxy from the devourers. That purpose is fulfilled. Now we have a new purpose, to live." She walked to the window and looked out at the stars. "For 800 years, we sacrificed normal lives to be weapons. Now we get to remember how to be human." Jake joined her at the window. "Some of us will stay in space, exploring again. Others will settle on new worlds. A few will go back to the old human colonies and rebuild them. And some," Captain added with a real smile, "will just rest. We've earned it." The ship's communication system crackled to life with messages from across the galaxy. They were thank you messages from worlds that had been saved, from families that were alive because of human sacrifice, from entire species that owed their existence to warriors they had never known existed. Listen, Harin said softly. The messages came in dozens of languages from hundreds of worlds, but they all said the same thing. Thank you for keeping us safe. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for remembering us. Captain wiped away a tear. We kept our promise, she said. Humanity protected the galaxy, and now the galaxy remembers why we were worth saving. The Eternal Vigil turned toward home, carrying its cargo of warriors who had finally earned their peace. Behind them, 1,000 other human ships did the same, their mission complete at last. The age of hiding was over. The age of guardians was ending. The age of living was about to begin.